I don't know why I'm so nervous, but I am. Maybe I need to go on
anti-anxiety medication.
Okay, so hi, I'm Wednesday, and I am a transsexual. I don't know if I should keep that in. I'm Wednesday, and I'm transgender, and I am going to be telling you a little bit about my coming out experience. So coming out isn't really like this one-time like huge event. I feel like I'm gonna be coming out for the rest of my life, which is, you know, kind of frustrating, kind of annoying, but also it lets people know that I'm like a little different or whatever. It is kind of scary having to come out all the time because I am never going to be 100% sure of what the other person is going to think. So I have to be prepared for anything all the time. And maybe that's like my anxious mind thinking. But that's a good segue into the first portion of this video, which is the fear. The fear is taking over me. The fear. So, coming out trans is interesting. It's interesting because it's embarrassing. Coming out is like a butterfly metamorphosizing in a cocoon, and the caterpillar's body liquefies into the cocoon and it restructures into this butterfly form, and then it flies away and everything's perfect and everything's beautiful. I just think that's really trans of the butterflies to do that. But yeah, it's kind of similar. It's metamorphosis, it's transformation. You guys get it. But it's interesting thinking about your past memories as the caterpillar and then you as a butterfly. I felt like I was a really scared caterpillar. I was a very anxious caterpillar, and becoming a butterfly is asking myself, which parts of my caterpillar life am I going to leave behind? And which parts of my life am I going to embrace with my new butterfly life? I definitely want to leave behind the fear. Fear really controlled all of my life. I felt like I was constantly worrying about what other people thought about me. I was constantly worrying about everything. I was in my head. I wasn't in the present moment. And I feel like I lost out on a lot of years worrying about what other people think, worrying about fake scenarios in my head, and just, I don't know, letting fear consume my life. So yeah, basically I'm a little butterfly, and it's up to me to choose which parts of myself that I'm going to leave behind and which parts of myself that I'm going to embrace and which parts of myself I'm going to nourish. I want to nourish love and positivity, and little caterpillar me was really focused on negativity and fear, and it's just not the vibe. And the caterpillar doesn't have to be afraid. Is that cheesy? I don't care. You know, we live in a society. And I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but I do know that I enjoy the idea of femininity, and I enjoy the idea of dressing femininely. And maybe I shouldn't have to unpack it too much, but I'm a very existential person, so I'm always going to be asking those questions, and I always need to know an answer. I went on a rant. I don't know where I was going with that, but hopefully you got something out of that. But where I'm trying to get at is other people's opinions of me shouldn't matter. The only thing that matters is what I think of myself. That's my biggest enemy, is me. Papa 911, as the great Lady Gagita said. I can't carry the weight of what anybody else might think of me, and neither should you. Because other people's perceptions of something, that's like all in their own head. You cannot control what they think, and everything that they think is just a projection of their inner world. If they I don't know, I'm trying to go somewhere with this. But people, every bias you have, every past experience, everything you've learned, when you see someone else, you're not really seeing them. You're seeing a projection of yourself onto them. And they're doing the same to you. So you cannot take anything that anybody says personally. And coming out to family is a little bit different because these are people that you have known your whole life, and you have created these narratives about them since you were a child. So there might be some family members that you might think are intolerable, and they don't like trans people, they don't like queer people. So you grew up feeling unsafe with them and afraid to tell them your truth, and the shame builds up and yada yada yada. Anyways, the fear of the unknown is the hardest part. I personally would just like be in my head and think of situations and scenarios about coming out, and it would just be really negative, and I would just be thinking about what might happen that I never actually tried to come out to my father, for example. I worried about certain things were said growing up, and those little tiny things that I heard, I internalized, and I grew up being really scared to come out to my dad. And I was afraid of how he might react, or what he might say, or how he might hurt my feelings, or this and that and that. But the unknown is a lot harder than actually knowing. If you're in your head worrying about what might happen, that's like torturous. I personally would rather know the truth. I would rather know what would actually happen if I came out, instead of just like ruminating in my head and thinking about what might happen if I do this. That's just fear. So I first took the leap of faith in like 2017 when I was like, I'm a drag queen. And that conversation, he said some things that hurt my feelings. So I was again in a place of shame and fear, and even though he knew that I did drag, I still felt really shameful about it. And that's on me, I guess. I took what he said really personally, and maybe I shouldn't have, but that's just what I did. I think that's what a lot of us do. And so I lived in shame and fear for a long time. Like, I didn't want him to see me in makeup. I didn't like him seeing that side of myself because I was ashamed of myself. And I didn't want him to see me like that. I had to take the leap of faith again when coming out as trans, because I was just torturing myself with the what ifs. What if this? What if that happens if I come out? Blah, blah, blah. And it got to a point where I was just like, I need to stop sitting around in my head thinking about the what ifs. I need to just come out, be brave, and just tell him I'm trans. It took some time to get to that point, but I eventually I took the leap of faith and I told him, and his response was actually a lot more chill than I ever expected it to be. It went the best way possible. And even if it didn't go the best way possible, at least I would know that how he felt, and I wouldn't have to torture myself about it. I am really happy that I know the truth now, and I don't have to torture myself. And I also know now that he's got his own inner world, and the way he feels about things, I can't internalize that. That's not my responsibility. He's got his own internal mechanisms. I've got my own internal mechanisms, but I do know for sure that there is love in that relationship, and that's all that matters. Fear of the unknown affects all of us. Fear controls us, and it's horrible. Everybody in this world right now is so consumed with fear, and fear makes people lash out and do things because they're scared. And I know this firsthand because fear controlled my life, and it made me hate myself, and it made me feel shame, and it made me project my insecurities onto other people. Fear can only be conquered with love. Segue into the next part. The love. The love. The love. The love. The love. Mwah. I love you. Mwah. The love. The love. The love. The love. Love conquers all evil. We knew this. we've been aware of this. Sometimes we forget. Love conquers fear. Are you gonna feed love? Or are you gonna feed fear? I'm so quirky. I'm so quirky. I'm weird. Sorry. Building a support system. Building a support system is the best thing you can do, and you should start there. You should start by finding people who are going to accept you and not belittle you and make you feel small and make you feel stupid and make you feel judged. If you don't have people in your life that give you unconditional love, you need to go out to a drag show or maybe a library or, I don't know, a sewing class. You need to go somewhere. You need to go out and meet people and find people who accept you and love you. Start there. Let's start there. My support system is my drag family, my community. I first came out to my drag family because my drag family is incredibly queer. And I knew that they would accept me for who I am and they would be there to hold my hand through this journey. I felt so loved and accepted. And then I came out to my mom and I knew that she was going to love and accept me. And then I came out to my dad. And then now I'm coming out to the world. So that was my order of coming out. My mom always knew that I was a little different, even when I wasn't really aware of it or had the words for it. But my mom always let me wear dresses, and when I was with my aunts and my cousins, they would also let me wear dresses, and I would play with the Barbies, and I loved girly things, and I did feel safe with them for a time. I eventually, stopped doing those girly things. Even though they were accepting, I socially learned that it wasn't okay for a boy to play with girl things. So I stopped doing that. But my mom really accepted me, but I also created a family of my own. My closest friends, my drag family, I surrounded myself with people that were like-minded and were queer just like me, and I have a family that truly understands me. I have a blood family and they do love me and they accept me, but I don't think most of them will ever understand what it's like to be queer or a trans person. And it's really important to me to surround myself with people who understand me and understand what I've been through and understand what I'm going through. So I'm so grateful for my support system. I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky. Even with all the supportive people in my life, coming out for me earlier in my coming out, a couple months ago, it was really embarrassing at times because I do have internalized transphobia, and I do worry about what other people think, as I've said, so it can be embarrassing coming out. I'm still figuring out how to love myself fully, how to accept myself, and coming out is really vulnerable and makes me feel so exposed. I'm getting to a point in my transition where I am feeling more comfortable, and I'm really happy to be there because the first couple months are just so embarrassing. Everything is embarrassing, like Sky Ferreira said. I'm quoting a lot of pop stars. I'm sorry. I'm queer. But my friends and family have reminded me that they love me for who I am, even when I'm trying to figure myself out and I'm like a little fledgling trans baby. For a long, long time, I was in denial about being trans. I think I was scared about what I'd find if I looked too closely at myself. Like, if I was on YouTube and there was a video about how to know if you're trans. I think a part of me knew that I was trans and a little bit different, but I never clicked on those videos because I was like, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I'm just not ready. And I never really felt a kinship to being a boy. Sometimes I tried to pretend to be and masculinize myself as much as I could. I prefer dressing really girly and really feminine and stereotypically most of the time. And I like those things, and I've always liked those things. I just told myself, these are the cards I was dealt. I was assigned male at birth. I'm gonna go by he, him, he, they pronouns. These are the cards that I've been dealt. The truth is that I am the dealer, and I shuffle the cards, and I can deal myself a new hand. I shuffle my own cards and I choose the deck, and I can choose my own life, and that is so freeing. I believe everyone should be able to do that. Even if you're cis and even if you don't feel like you're trans, you can still take your life into your own hands. Oh, that is every human's right on this earth to choose who they want to be and live authentically. I know that trans rights are human rights. Humans deserve to be free. And we do this shit to ourselves. We do this shit to ourselves, and we lock ourselves up, and we create hell on earth. The Empress jumped out. The Empress. This card jumped out right now, and I think it says a lot about what I'm talking about right now. Bravery is not the absence of fear. Bravery is doing something while you are scared. Coming out as trans was terrifying, but I knew that it was necessary because I have been on a journey my whole life of living authentically and unpacking the parts of myself that didn't resonate any longer. I knew that I didn't want to settle for a life that I didn't deserve. I never want to settle for less. Before I came out, I was settling for less. And I'm so excited for what's to come. Even with all the shit in the world, I'm not hurting anybody. I'm living my life. I'm doing what I want. And I'm expressing myself how I want to express myself. It's important to be hopeful about the future because life is too short to waste it being anything other than yourself. And to waste it being afraid. Boo. Fear sucks. The journey of life for me is not about surviving. It's not about working a 9-to-5 job. It's not about making money. It's not about getting married and having kids. Life is about thriving. Life is about living and experiencing things and experiencing all the emotions, but mostly focusing on the positive ones. I want to live my life focusing on positive emotions and not going down the deep end into negative emotion. Negative emotions, I think, that are necessary and they can help you, but if you're stuck there, boo. I believe that life is about having the best time that you possibly can without hurting anybody else. Because the things you do to other people end up coming back to you, baby. I hope that this video maybe helps you a little bit if you are questioning if you're trans. If you're not trans, maybe it'll help you understand trans people and people that are different from you. Maybe it'll help you understand me a bit more. My name is Wednesday. I'm trans. I'm his silly rabbit. If you liked this video and you want to see more, I am going to be posting every week on this YouTube channel, and I hope that you subscribe and you follow my journey, and I hope that we can become friends, and I hope that I can become a positive parasocial relationship in your life, and hopefully you don't stalk me like Chapel Roan's fans or whatever, but yeah. But yeah, my name is Wednesday. I will see you guys next time, and thank you for watching this video. Bye! Oh, this is DOE Unlimited. DOE Unlimited. DOE Unlimited. Okay, bye.